your pockets. Give Jorge Barrera a call. It's time to check out his listings and everything that he has ready to be bought on this fabulous beach. His phone number is 239-791-9893. 239-791-9893. Look at everybody's running to the bathroom but me. Go figure that. How crazy is that? Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest, is he here? Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. Jim Dunlap, everybody. Jim is an Egret Street resident. You're going to sit here and take number 3. And Jim and I have kind of been like email friends for Jeepers Creepers since the mangroves got pulled away.
Beach Theater.
Yeah.
We're not starting with that.
No, we're not going to start with that. And Jim is trying to get approved on the LPA. And it's a very important committee that this town has right now.
A lot of steps, and it steers how things end up being ultimately. So absolutely critical.
What brought you to Fort Myers Beach, Jim?
Well, I've been in Florida for 20 years. We moved down here full time in 2017. Bought the house on Egret Street in 2021. Same thing that brings everybody to Fort Myers Beach. You come here, you see something, you experience something, you become part of something, and when you leave, you feel less.
Yes,
and there you are, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
So we've been coming back ever since. Bought our property. Like everybody else, just got it finished. It got, destroyed, and we redid it.
Did your house get totally wiped out?
It didn't. The roof in the outside stood through that 9.5 feet of water, but obviously it had to be gutted, and we just finished doing all that. But we're back in, and everybody's in the same place on that. We got it done, and we're here, and we love it, and we're going to continue to be more part of it.
Now, do you put mousse in your hair, or does that naturally stand up?
That's a little product
like that?
My wife calls it. I'm not sure what it is, but
is it mousse, or is it something else? I mean, I have to. And you have lovely color in your hair too, a little gray on the sides. How good it looks.
But yeah. Great.
So, what made you decide that you wanted to get involved in politics?
Well, I've been in politics before. I was an elected official in Ohio for a while.
Tell us.
It was a small community outside of Toledo, Ohio, Northwest Ohio, called Waterville, and they had issues like any small town does. So I ran for that council seat. Through an election, a normal process where you get accused of everything you never had any part of, the drill.
You're totally corrupt.
Got on, and my issue was that we at that time were pulling water out of a river that was about this deep, and so you had all the issues of nitrates and all that. So I set up a process by which to connect to the lake area water, and had to go through Toledo, and we got that done. And then I got unelected on the next election because people don't like to be part of something, and now the town is thriving, it's doing great.
Nice,
so you take what you do what's right, and you make it happen.
How long were you on the council there?
3.5 years.
3.5 years.
And we have moved, transferred to Florida, which is why I came down.
So you're watching what's going on. I mean, for a couple of years, you're watching what's going on. What is your impression of how the town council is behaving?
Well, it's an interesting contrast, and I would, and would know this well. I watched the September 22nd, 2022 town council meeting 6 days before the hurricane. If you haven't watched that in a while, go back and take a look. It isn't even the same place about the culture, the attitude, the unity, the connectivity, the caring at a whole different human level. That is such a stark change. And I watched that happen, and I heard the council talk about culture and what they want to change. That is an incredibly difficult thing to do. It's like moving Jell-O around. You have to keep working at it all the time to get everything aligned. And so I watched with interest. And to their credit, and to the amount of progress they had to make on that front, as well as doing everything else in the island, they came a long way.
Right.
And so I'm excited that there is room for conversations, negotiations, working together, and openness of attitudes and opinions that I look forward to being part of. And I will tell you the other thing is all the folks here that have lived here way longer than we have, of course, being part of a community that is as vibrant as this one is, but as fragile as it is, it's not a spectator sport. You either get involved, become part of it, make something happen, put your hat in the ring, stand for something, be held accountable for it, or you sit back and complain and throw in the things that people do. And I just won't do it that way.
Yeah.
So I want to be part of it. And I've got a background and experience that I think I can add value.
Why'd you wait so long?
Well, there's other things to get done. And frankly, we all have to wait our turn. You don't push your way in, you get invited. And that's how I feel right now.
I'm sorry, I was in the restroom. How long have you been on
and
the
you
beach?
look lovely. You lipped up, you put
so
some
much.
lipstick on, and you brushed your hair, and because you know that
just
Jim
went
was
to
going to
the
have mousse in
bathroom.
his hair. That's why you went back.
Product.
And
Tell me it's product.
About that? So how long have you been on the beach?
We bought our home in Egret in July of 2021.
Yeah.
Okay.
We went through that.
About
too.
9
I'm
months
sorry.
getting it fixed up, and then Ian knocked on the door. We let him in, and then we did it over.
So
Did
you were
were
talking about the culture of the beach. From the people that you talk to, from the circles that you're running in, what do you feel people that you talk to want for this beach?
Well, it's a dynamic situation, meaning that there isn't one part of this beach that is more important than the other about the tourists, the residents, the snowbirds, people come in. You have to have all those things in equilibrium. And if we focus too much on one or the other, you're going to get out of balance, and it's going to be an overdependent. I just saw the write-up, either you guys or somebody did, about how much the business has dropped off up in Times Square.
But that's normal.
It is normal, but then what does the island do during the meantime on those off years?
They
You
never-
build the economy.
They've never been able to figure out what to do during the off season to get
Well,
people
but
to
it
come
has-
down. I've been
but-
talking
We have some
about that
chances
for
now.
years.
There's been years. There's been in last few years.
Yeah,
Post
post-COVID, people wanted to be here.
It was better. Yeah.
So when you watched Matt talk about the issues with the beach, what was your impression of him running for? Would you vote for him?
I would say at this point, I need more clear answers, more definitive answers. You got to stand for something.
Thank you.
Decisions and voters have that. There's consequences to this stuff.
Yes.
You got to be on the record. And I would advise him, not it's my place, but I've been in this place before. You got to stand for something and see what happens. That's how
he
you
was
have to
on the
live.
town council in Ohio, so he knows his shit. This guy's waited too long to start running. Can you picture yourself running for a town council seat?
Well, first of all, I have to contribute, be worth it, wait your turn, add value, and when you're invited. And
What
I mean
about
it. And
county commissioner.
No.
You want to bring that?
Can you?
Add
What
to
about
that?
president? We need a good Republican running for president right now.
I'm going to do that right now, my
Wow,
friend.
this escalated quickly.
Yeah.
What-
Let's
what-
take this one time. I'm doing it for the pay. You know that.
Jim,
Oh,
I go.
I know. It's a
Yeah, I
big-
know.
yeah,
I
yeah,
go.
yeah.
I do want to talk about this a little bit because it is a big deal. I mean, I go by the beach theater, and hopefully that place will open up and be some kind of vibrant business. But you live on a canal with a bunch of neighbors, and they ripped out the mangroves, and
They
so
did.
we're trying to stay on top of that. What? I mean, what did that? When you saw that happening, did that burn your bridges, or that made you push you further into wanting to get involved? Because we found out that the town can't even
They can't
regulate
become involved
that.
at all,
They
right?
can't regulate it.
The state's kind of overruled all that. Well, it does. It does remind you how precious and valuable. I mean, the amount of debris, dust, wind, and other things coming to the property now, just because nature isn't doing what it was designed to do anymore, it's egregious. And I went through the process of all the various agencies in Florida trying to make sure we could get some help, met the people there to do the site surveys. And in the end, as you know, the state's going to control what they do or don't do. And they frankly will let the seawall be built, and it'll keep erosion from happening, and we'll go from there. So now what you do with this moment and opportunity is, how do we make it the best we can be with the circumstance and situation we have? As I've talked to you regularly, is I just want to talk to those people.
Yeah.
I just want to have a conversation. I think people become reasonable when you look them in the eye.
Yeah.
And you say,
For
tell
sure.
me again,
Yeah.
why is this happening? Why is it happening this way? And can't we think about it a little bit differently? And I think we get that to that opportunity, Ed, we're going to find good things can happen for both of us.
So a lot of stuff going on the beach. Let's just.
Are we going to go through the
yes.
developments?
Yeah, I'm going to
Okay.
start. Then we'll
my
kind of
gosh.
ping pong back and
You
forth
never
here.
let me start.
I need to set
Ed,
the
well,
table.
Let me start.
Kim,
I
what
wanna
would you like to ask me?
I
So
want to ask about your views on the Outrigger and London Bay development.
if you were on the LPA 3 months ago, how would you have voted on the Outrigger?
Well,
Take a stand, bro. Take a stand.
yeah, well, we'll work through that right now. The issue is, are you yet informed enough and have enough conversations and enough information to take a position? It's just as damaging to be for or against something too early or too late and find out later that you either stalled something that could have been wonderful, or you didn't create the influence you could have had by being more aggressive in another way. I think these conversations are premature, but I can tell you, he's approachable. You can talk to him.
Yes, for sure.
I'd love to talk to him. This is what I did for a living for dozens and dozens of years. I think there's a lot on the south end for that development. How it can be put together. I think there are things way beyond writing a check for impact fees, which I'm not personally against because they do have a revenue source. But think of the things you could do with someone who's interested, as I believe Mark is, at contributing to the island. Things that don't have to be traditional and predictable, such as, let me give you an example. So last Friday, we had a water main break on Egret. Somebody dropped a dumpster off and hit it, and then they took off and left, and the geysers were going for hours. The town came and fixed it and do what they do, but then we get that mandatory boil water notice. So that was Friday and Saturday and Sunday and Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. And you know why? because they got to send it to Benita Springs to get the water tested 2 days in a row. I'm glad they care about that. Why can't we have that piece of equipment right here in Fort Myers Beach?
Yeah.
Why can't we be close to the customers and do that on a Saturday morning, and then on Sunday release us back? 5 days without water is a big deal. Well, what if the developers had a list from the community of the kind of things that would enhance our ability to be more local, to be more decisive, to be quicker to what we decide to do, and things like equipment for the town, equipment for the schools, ferry services or taxi service to the airport. There's a whole list of things that we could say, this is what we want to talk about.
Okay.
So I look forward to those conversations for these.
Okay.
folks.
So if the proposal was final at 17 stories at Outrigger, you a yes or a no?
I'm not actually opposed to the height as much as I am the density of the development itself. I think. Wow,
you got applause from the Nussbaums.
If you look at, and by the way, location matters. You build
Yes.
that kind of thing here, it's different.
Correct.
Out there. There's a continuity of the skyscape right now, and I think this isn't going to make it more valuable, especially when if that 17 stories comes with a dozen of things that are on our minds that could help in a lot of other ways. I think there's a trade-off there that can make sense.
Yeah.
I'd rather they make it that way than a lot smaller and have less impact to the community that way, just because we don't like the view.
Do you think it was a big mistake for the LPA, for the council to appoint John McClain on the LPA? No, I'm just kidding. I love John. He's a good guy.
John all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. He knows I'm kidding. Do you know he's had 4 wives?
Yeah, I didn't, but I'm glad you got it on the radio now.
No.
I hope he found the one he wants
No,
now.
he has had 1 wife. Somehow he got confused when I was joking
I heard
around with
that.
the guy.
I heard that.
So it's an ongoing inside joke. But
Are you a dog or cat person?
Oh man, we're dog all the way.
Yeah.
Did you run through the
I didn't.
No,
I
what
didn't.
do you got?
We'll save that for the your favorite band of all time.
Eagles.
Nice. Wow, he's
Wow.
quick on the favorite TV show growing up.
Twilight Zone. Rod.
Twilight Zone.
movie?
Very nice.
The Adjustment Bureau. Have you seen it?
The Adjustment Bureau. No.
Write it down. It's a love story you need
No,
to
I'm not
see.
watching. I'm not
Somebody
watching a
seen
love
it?
story.
There we
no.
go.
I want to watch
Oh,
people.
Ed, this is a good one for
I want to
you.
watch death and destruction. That's what I want to watch.
Well,
So,
wait till later.
What was
You'll probably see
what
some
was
of
the
it.
other? What was the other one? Final one. What was the other one? I'm missing the whole thing.
If you were
Yeah.
going across the country in an
Can't be your
RV,
wife. Can't be your
and
wife.
Can you let me get it out? If you're going across the country in an RV, who would you go, dead or alive, not your wife or like family?
Winston Churchill.
Yeah,
Nice.
baby. All
That's a
right.
good
You know what's so
one.
fun?
Can you imagine the conversation
Yes.
you can have with somebody that dealt with nothing, but there's no way out of this,
Yes.
and found a way out of it?
Do you know
I just think that's imagination and courage.
I see why you guys.
the book I'm
the
reading now
history
is the
stuff.
Valkyrie? I don't know if they call it the Valkyrie plan or something like that. The plan to
even know
kill
what you're-
Hitler. The plan that
Oh, yeah,
they had
yeah,
to
yeah,
kill
yeah.
Hitler. It's fascinating that if the suitcase would have been over just a smidge
Would
longer,
have got him.
there might not have been
Doesn't
a
life all come
Holocaust.
down to
I mean,
that?
it's just crazy how that
Have
whole
you
thing
read
happened.
Forgotten Land about Florida?
No.
Yeah.
Who wrote that?
Pick that up. I've got it on my book. I can show you in Kindle.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's a fascinating story about how things start like this and become
Yeah.
like this. You got to pick it up. You're a reader. You'd like it.
Yeah. All right. So back to the topics. This is a
Davis
different
enjoying
show.
What
this
are we
too.
gonna-
This is a different show where Kim's not around because she doesn't want to hear about our silly book reading
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Because she watches
that's not
cat
true.
videos at night
Oh,
when
that
she's
is
at home.
not true. This one is cackling
Of the
like
bulldog
like
videos.
watching bulldog
There's
videos.
somehow in my feed on Facebook there are bulldog videos and there are Seinfeld clips. And
Now
my
that's
favorite
funny.
comedian is Nate Bargatze. Have you guys ever heard him? He's hilarious and he's totally clean. He's so
Yeah,
funny.
That would be good for
Yeah.
a change.
And so the next question is Monday is going to be a big day for Moss Marina.
Yep.
If you watching the meetings now, if you were on the LPA a couple of weeks ago, and I mean, Anita's trying to keep people in line on this beach. He's trying to keep people on the straight and
Sure,
narrow with the
sure.
comp plan and the LDC. Which way would you have voted on that?
So let me give you an answer and then an explanation. I would have voted no the way it's projected today. It's too much, too soon, too intense. We're not ready for that, I believe. Community's got to grow into that. So my question would have been, why can't this development be phased? Why can't there be pieces and parts that are natural add-ons that as a community becomes comfortable with what's happened, how it feels, what's going on, then you come back and say, and I'd like to do even more, and I'd like to do even more. And you're not against people that want to add more of what they already enjoy and appreciate or benefit from.
Yeah.
You're just against this massive thing. You wake up in the morning and go, what just happened?
Mm-hmm.
So I would have asked the conversation about phasing. Maybe they will on Monday. I don't know. But
Yeah.
if you ask my opinion, that's what I would have done the LPA.
When you see some of Ben's comments about this is my plan, there's no plan B, do you believe that, or you think he'll come back with another plan?
Well, I don't know. I'm not in his mind. But what I can tell you is there's always another alternative. There's always another choice. I believe that in life. I believe that in how things work. Things happen for a reason. And I think common sense people dealing with professionals that have the same good intentions will find a different answer.
So you
I don't think the bully thing works either way, and I'm not taking it that way, but I think there's options to make this thing work.
So you think something could go?
I do.
You're in favor of, I mean, really, the MAP amendment to change it so something could go
I
back
agree.
there.
I can tell you what I was excited about.
So you don't like the marina there?
Love the marina, and I love the walkway.
Yeah, I
That
love
walk
the
along there,
restaurants and yeah, I mean, it would be nice.
Just do it in pieces and parts and let it grow on us.
Yeah,
Let them grow
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
Let the town get the infrastructure
have
and the
you,
other things we
Well,
have to
yeah,
do.
way to get there.
Right.
Yeah,
have you
yeah,
seen
yeah.
the Neptune proposal? I know
I
it's
have
been a
not.
while.
I have
Okay,
not.
how about Meyer side?
I haven't seen that.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they've kind of been in
Quite a while.
mothballs for a
Yeah.
couple
They
months,
have.
so but they'll be coming up. So
But
why?
I really like how they handled the whale. I thought the exceptions they
Oh, yeah.
made, the conversations they had, and you see what happens when heart gets connected to the head in that regard.
No, what do you
They
mean
want
by
to
that?
find a way
What do you
to
mean
make
heart?
it work.
Who
It's
has
just
a
like
heart?
dealing with the town.
Yeah.
You need to help them get to yes.
Right.
And if you can do that and be a partnership, they'll approve things.
Why do you think that you'd be a good addition to the what? Okay, Matt,
Thank you.
thank you. Why do you think you'd be a good addition to the LPA?
Well, I won't be afraid to speak my opinion and have a point of view.
Yeah.
I think that's important. You talked about differing opinions, and that's absolutely right. If you're all getting the same opinion, you're either on Facebook or you're not growing, because that's all that stuff does. And I think it's important to have challenges that way. I think Anita runs a fabulous meeting, discipline on the money, and does that. I'd like to be part of that. And I also think I have a different voice. I have a background and some experience in the financial industry that I've dealt with these kind of things with the people-to-people conversations, and I can be helpful in helping negotiate some of that.
Some of that stuff is confusing, like getting into the zoning, and sometimes when
course.
Patrick talks, of course he's not going to be there anymore because that's a seat you're trying to fill. He talks so over
It's
my
in the
head,
weeds.
I can't get it. I don't
Well,
understand what he's
that's not a
saying.
high
I'm not saying
bar.
anyone else doesn't understand it, but the guy. I mean, I'm glad that he's going to be
This
pitching.
is such a serious
I'm-
show.
I'm
I
glad
haven't
that
been
he's-
able to get any zingers in.
I'm glad that he's going to be pitching products to the LPA because he gets the vibe of the beach because he lives on the beach. Yeah,
Oh,
he's pitching
He's not
the.
going anywhere.
Yeah,
He's got
right.
so much to offer and so much to give.
Yeah.
He'll always be available. And those are people we call. We say,
Yeah.
hey, fill me in on this.
Yes.
I'm not afraid to do that.
So
What do you think about Times Square? What should go in down there?
good question, dear.
The
Thank
pier.
you so much.
The pier.
So after the pier goes in,
Yeah. Well,
My bell broke.
my wife and I have talked about this a lot, and this is an example that not to be identical, but it does kind of give you that point of view. If you've been to Universal City Walk in
Yeah.
Orlando,
Yeah.
do you know how far above the ground you are?
I don't.
You don't. And
and
isn't
you're
that the
pretty
magic
far
of it?
from the parking.
It is a magic.
Where you're.
Yeah, that's
That's
the
a
escalator.
long
But
walk.
everything is built on a level, both eye and access. And
Hmm.
because it's all connected that way, you
Mhm.
have no idea that you're this far up doing this many things above the ground. I seen Times Square, certainly for all the reasons that have to be involved because of the title surge and all that. It has to be like that.
Yeah.
But how it looks as one contiguous, ongoing, connected, and vibrant place, I think that's all possible.
When you saw the picture, did you throw up like I did?
Well, it. First of all, if you turn the page around, you see the back of the page. I couldn't even see what it looked like.
Yeah,
There's
they didn't offer
360
enough
there.
pictures.
No.
Yeah, it wasn't. It
It's
wasn't.
early, and either somebody had some fun to get a reaction, or they just want to be proud of their painting. I don't know which one it was.
I know you live on Egret Street, which is a lovely street. I
Yep.
went down Flamingo today with Alex King and showing off houses. There's so much construction going on. It's
Yeah.
so great to see
It is.
the town rebuilding on every single street. You see it,
Yep.
and it's got to be a positive thing for the neighborhoods.
It absolutely is. And I know what the town's been through. I know what Andy's had to do to get where he's gotten, and he's brought a lot to our community we didn't have before. The culture of that organization is very vibrant. My question I would ask to all of them all the time, like when I ran my company, is how close are the decisions being made to the customer? Have we pushed all the authority as far down as we could administratively? What really needs to go through the pinch points we have? What really needs to go to council? How much can they delegate administratively and let that be pushed down so people can work a neighborhood or 3 neighborhoods and help advocate for getting stuff through the paperwork?
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things you can
gonna
talk
go off
about.
on that one.
What?
You always
do-
go off on
Do you?
that.
So just a kind of a sidebar question here. I know it has nothing to do with the LPA, but would you like to see the pier rebuilt? Because Alan's watching. I got to ask you this, and I know he hates when I say this. Or
That's
do you
what
want
he
to?
said, the first thing he said.
Would you like?
About Times Square? Was
No,
get
no,
this
or-
through.
You didn't ask me which kind of
Oh,
pier I was
wow.
just trying to work on right now.
Oh.
Or do you want to see a Taj Mahal?
No. Let me give you what I would do that. We'll see where this ends up relative to the exact description. When that checkbook's open, dude, you better get what you can get while they're talking about it, while we're a priority. I applaud how much work's going on to bring a tangible, documented request to Lee County and say, this is what we want, because they'll always try to say, we don't know what you're looking for. We don't know what you're really trying to
Right.
develop.
They always say that.
And
Yeah.
when you bring them something like that, then stick to it, plow forward,
Yeah.
get everything you can get, and it won't happen again. So that would be my answer, whatever it ends up looking like.
I think it's going to be bigger than it was, but
Sure.
probably not big as some of the pictures
Well,
we've seen.
yeah. I mean, it's got to be more resilient.
And
than
there's
it
not
was.
going to be,
And
like
then-
Matt was saying, there needs to be some buildings on it. There aren't going to be any buildings
I
on it
don't-
because you
I
can't do
think
that.
that's
Yeah.
You
not
can't do
allowed.
that. So,
Rules have changed.
yeah. So what is your biggest criticism of the government on Fort Myers Beach that you would like to see them fix or do better or
Or do
improve on or do
differently?
differently?
I don't know if this is a criticism because I'm not close enough to daily workings, but I just mentioned this before. I would ask all the powers that are, whatever that organization needs to be or department, just to make sure that the people that are working for them can make decisions and do their job. I find that the further you allow people to do that, not only do you find out who's really belongs in those jobs and who doesn't, but you attract a whole different set of talent when they
Yeah.
think they're allowed to do something
Yes.
impactful.
Do you think it's
not a criticism.
micromanaged then?
Not now,
No,
no.
that right now
It was
Of
prior.
course, it was before. Just watch that meeting I talked about at the
Yeah.
beginning. But it's so much better. That's why it's not fair, because everything is a journey and evolution.
Yeah.
They're making a lot of progress.
Yeah.
But we can go faster. We can be more clear about that, and we can make people held accountable for making decisions, getting things done. That is actually healthy for people to have that authority
How do you think they can move faster? You
by
mentioned that.
delegating further down.
Okay.
Yeah.
By having department heads make department decisions and have the people that work for them make decisions on behalf of or subject to. What people want, we all want hope. If somebody comes and says, I think I can get this done, I had to do that 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I haven't got it done yet, and I didn't promise it would be. But when you say, I think I can, if we do this and this and this, we have something to work with.
Is your wife okay with this path that you're on right now? Okay.
She wants him to
'Cause-
run for town council. I
No
saw
kidding.
that.
I think that'd be great,
She
man.
is,
I really think that you should, be on the LPA for a few months. And then, there needs to be
I want to
some,
be invited. I told you before.
and nobody's going to, and
Oh, yeah, they will.
I'm inviting him to run for town
when you're
council.
invited. It feels right. It's the right time.
You waited
can
too
add the
long.
value.
You waited too long
You
to
got to
get
play
involved.
catch up now.
No, I mean seriously, man. I didn't
I'm
know
happy to
that
help,
you're.
partner.
We've just been kind of emailing back and forth for a couple. I mean, maybe a year, but I didn't have any idea that you were.
Well, I
this
tried
smart.
to get closer to you, Ed. I went up to the
Oh,
When
he
does-
does not like anyone
man hugs.
close to
I
him.
know. Stay
Oh,
away.
yeah.
We were at the man cave. He goes, yeah, I like nice to meet you.
is
Stay over
that
there.
where we met?
That's
Wow.
where we met. Yeah.
Where
You
was
invited
the-
us over there. I brought a whole bunch of people and bought
Cool.
your t-shirts.
He's got
Nice.
no
I had
memory.
no memory.
Now
of
when
any
they
of
were-
it.
no
You know,
memory.
I have to be honest with you. Since the storm came through, I really don't have a memory of a lot of the stuff that we did and that
Since the storm came
man,
through,
it's
this
just
has
it
been
was
going
just
on for a
I
while.
can't believe it's like it's coming up on 20 months. It's
Yeah.
just
Quit
crazy.
drinking salt water. It's not good for you.
Yeah, or Blue Moon either, or rum for that matter. So, anything else that you want people to know that might
About
consider
you
voting for
and
you?
what you
The 5
stand
people
for.
that will be voting for you, that I'm sure will be watching you.
Well, and you're kind of setting the breadcrumbs for
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
further
Oh,
down
would you
the
guys
road.
calm down? So I
No.
can tell you
I
that
love this.
I like even numbers. I like takeoffs to match landings. Those are even numbers in airplanes. I like promises made to match promises kept.
Yeah.
So what I say I'm going to do and what we're going to talk about and what we decide to do, we're going to do. And, I just think you live your life by a certain set of personal values, and then they show up in how your behavior works after that. And mine are pretty clear to me. I believe in what I believe, and I see a calling to help. You've seen my resume. You've seen the things I've done in the past volunteer-wise. This is not new. But you got to be part of something you represent that you care about. You got to be involved, and you got to put yourself out there and at risk. And when I mean at risk, it means make decisions and be held accountable for them. Some are going to work, some not. But if they know your intent, it's going to go a lot better.
What's
than
your
not making
prediction for Monday for the Moss Marina?
I don't think it has.
Put something on the board.
I don't think in its current condition it's going to get passed.
Yeah. I agree with you. Unfortunately, right now, I think it's probably going to go back to the drawing board, but we'll see on Monday. You never know. You
hope
never
that drawing
know.
board includes his faces. That's what I would recommend.
Big hand for Jim, everybody.
Thank you,
Running
guys.
for the LPA. He's not really running.